Hi, it's Marissa from LittleHouseLiving.com. Today I'm going to show you how to can grape juice. First, what you need to do is clean your berries and juice them. So the easiest way to do this is just to get a regular stock pot, clean off all your berries and de-stem them, and put them in your stock pot, add just a little bit of water to the bottom of the pan, and put it on a low or medium heat. And then just use like a potato masher or a mix and chop, something that'll kind of chop up the berries and start extracting the juice. After your mixture starts acting like it wants to get to a boil, then you're going to take it off the heat and dump out any juice that you've gotten, and you want to strain this either through a cheesecloth or through any kind of strainer. And then you can add some more water and do it again, because there'll still be plenty of juice left in your berries. So once you do that, you're going to put your juice into jars or any kind of container that can go in the fridge, and it needs to sit at least 24 hours. And the reason for that is because grape juice has tartric acid in it, and that's not going to hurt you, but it will crystallize your grape juice if you leave it in. So you're going to let your juice sit in the fridge for about 24 hours or longer, and then you can go ahead and get it ready to can. So I've let my juice sit in the fridge, and now I've started pouring it into another stock pot. And when you pour it back out of after it's been sitting in the fridge, you want to be careful not to disturb the tartric acid that's on the bottom. And the easiest way to do this is just to use a small either cheesecloth or a small fine mesh strainer, and then just pour your grape juice into it, and the juice will go into your pan, but the tartric acid kind of looks like kind of slime or sludge, and that'll stay in the cheesecloth or in your strainer. So you just want to strain out the rest of the juice that you can get out into your pan, and then go ahead and turn your grape juice on to about a medium heat. Alright, I finished straining out my tartric acid, and now I'm going to add just a little bit of sugar to my cooking grape juice. You want to add about half a cup of sugar to every quart that you make, or you can add a little less depending on how much sugar you want in your grape juice, how sweet you want it to be. Okay, and I don't know if you could see my sugar, but we don't use any white sugar in our house because we don't use any processed foods, so I went ahead and just added some turbinado sugar. Okay, so while we're waiting for our sugar to dissolve in our grape juice, we're going to turn on our canner and get it ready to go. So first you have to add your water to your hot water bath canner, and you want to add it about up to, mine's got 2 lines on it, you want to add it up to about 3/4 of the way full, depending on what size jars you're going to use. If you're just going to use jelly jars, you can probably add a little less water, but if you're going to can in quarts, you need to add more water. I'm just going to go ahead and do jelly jars since we don't drink a lot of juice, so I'm going to make it in smaller quantities for us. And then after you add your water, go ahead and turn on your hot water bath canner so we can get the water warmed up before we put the jars in. And then make sure you watch your grape juice, and it shouldn't take too long for the sugar to dissolve. Alright, my sugar is all dissolved in my grape juice, so now I'm going to carefully scoop it into my jars. And grape juice obviously stains pretty bad, so you might want to set something down on your countertop before you scoop it into the jars. And I'm just using my regular plastic canning funnel. You don't want to fill your jars all the way full, but you want to leave this space, and this is called head space. And in this case, you want to leave about maybe 3/4 to an inch head space in the jars. Okay, so after we finish filling up the jars, you want to take a wet rag and go along the top of the jars and make sure that you didn't spill any juice or any sugar or anything along the rim of the jars, because if there's anything along the rim, then they might not seal. So we want to clean off the rims of all of our jars. And then you can go ahead and put on your lids and rims. This is the only time you're going to get to twist the lid, so you want to make sure that your rims are on there really tight. You definitely don't want to twist the rims after you bring the jars out of the hot water bath, because then it'll break the seal. Alright, so our jars are all ready to go in the hot water bath. Okay, so this is where we're going to want the jar lifter that I talked about in the What You Need video. So we'll use this to put our jars right into the hot water bath. And your hot water bath is ready when it gets to just about boiling, but not quite. So we'll go ahead and put all of our jars in. Close the lid. And then I don't start the timer until my hot water bath starts boiling. So I'm going to wait a couple minutes until this starts boiling. Then I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes. And then when the timer goes off, I'll make sure I turn this off. And then we'll take the jars out. Alright, so my 10 minutes is up and it's time to take the grape juice out. Before I take it out, I usually lay down one of my flour sacks on the countertop, or you can lay down some kind of hot pad, because the jars are going to be hot when you take them out. You want to be careful when you take the jars out of the water that you don't touch the lid at all, because it needs to seal on its own. Okay, so we took our jars out of the hot water bath and I set them down here on my counter that I covered with my flour sack. And now you want to make sure that you don't touch them at all and you just leave them sit here undisturbed. And after it could be anywhere from a couple minutes to a couple hours later, you're going to hear some little popping noises. And that's the lid sealing on your jars. But you definitely want to make sure that you don't touch the lid at all while these are sitting here, because otherwise you could create a seal that's actually not a real seal, and then your jars could go bad without you even knowing it. So these just have to sit here, and then once they seal, and you'll know it's sealed because the lid will kind of cave in just a little bit instead of being, it's kind of popped out right now. You can write on the top of them what they are and put them in your pantry. They're ready to go. And this is grape juice concentrate, so when you take it back out, you're going to want to add at least the same amount of water as you have grape juice into your pitcher or whatever you're serving. And that's how you can grape juice. Make sure, if you have any questions, to let me know. And for more canning and preserving tips, visit littlehouseliving.com.